Greetings, adventurers. Today in Petty Nonsense, we have a couple of independent game designers arguing on Twitter over the game Shadowdark. So, Shadowdark, you've probably heard of it. It's doing fairly well for itself. Well, some of the arguments are that it's sucking all the air out of the room, making it harder for other people to get published. Well, if you're having troubles getting published, look at what they're doing that you're not doing and go from there. Shadowdark came out. It earned a whole bunch of money in the original get-go. Well over $1 million, which is happening every now and then. You know, there's multiple people. I just saw, I believe it was Brandon Sanderson's RPG. I can't remember the name of it offhand. And it's going 10.8 million on Kickstarter with 2 more days to go. And that 10.8 was yesterday, so it's probably well over 11, which is amazing to me. MCDM's 3 or 4 million, whatever he's at. But anyway, the idea was that, you know, it's sucking the air out of the room, and, well, it's awful, and the person who wrote it is awful, and the person who wrote it is actually a nice person, and all this, that, and the other thing. Well, my 2 cents on the matter is that Shadowdark is well written for what it is. It uses a very basic D20 system. It's as if you took some of the better parts of 5e and then left all the extraneous garbage out. You know, it's only got 4 character classes and 6 races. There's no archetypes, and the backgrounds are, well, just a single word. Okay, your background is sailor. Okay, cool. Then your background is sailor, and we'll not attach a whole bunch of little mechanical fiddly sticks to that. Your ancestry or race, whatever, well, 5e, I'll refer to 2014 Player's Handbook as 5e D&D. In the 5e Player's Handbook, if you want to play an elf, there's like 2, maybe 3 pages of mechanical rules and such. And for dwarf, there's 2 subclasses, 2 subraces, subspecies of dwarf with different mechanical bonuses added on to the base dwarf mechanical bonuses and such. And in Shadowdark, if you want to play a dwarf, you roll advantage when you roll your hit points. That's it. You're extra tough. That's simple. That's a couple of lines, and you can write that down and be done with it. Character generation is quick. I have been a proponent for games where character generation is quick, because then you can either flesh out your character over gameplay, over time, and roleplay, or you can roll up a quick character when your character dies in battle, which means that the DM has a lot more latitude in making a deadly game, because then you don't have that one guy who gets his character dies, and then he has to spend an inordinate amount of time in character generation making up a new one. You know, you can get right back in there. I love it. In fact, I would say that if I were designing the next edition of Dungeons and Dragons, I would use Shadowdark. Let's say I won the bazillion dollars lottery and I just bought the D&D IP off of Wizards of the Coast / Hasbro. I'd go talk to Kelsey Dion and I say, hey, I'm making this, I got the IP, I want to use your bones of Shadowdark. And what I would do, I came from 2nd edition. I know that a lot of the D&D players want to customize their characters. I would take a page right out of 2nd edition, and I'd say, we're going to go with the Shadowdark stuff where you have a very basic character class. You have a very basic racial ancestral thing, you know, of The elf can do this, the dwarf can do that, the halfling can do that. Okay, take all that. You have your basic stuff. I know that there's a set of players who want something more. Your new players want easy to understand games. They want easy to understand rules, so you can get the new players in quick. I would steal from second edition. Okay, here's the Wizard's Handbook. The archetypes in 5e are pretty much mandatory. They're baked in. But in second edition, your subclass of, what kind of wizard are you? Are you an invoker? Are you a necromancer? Well, that stuff was optional. Everybody was a generalist unless decided otherwise. And that's when these additional optional archetypes came in. And they were optional because they had both an advantage and a disadvantage. You could use this to customize, but if you didn't take it, you were fine. It didn't alter the power level of a character to have that or not have it, for the most part. So balance was struck. You have your casual player who wants a simple character sheet and a simple game, and then you got your guy who wants to customize everything. They can play at the same table without one person stealing all the thunder. So yeah, that's how I do it. Start with this very simple base, and I would add these subclasses later as optional things. And I would tie them to setting books. For example, Dragonlance just published some settings books with your optional subclasses, keyword optional, tied into those settings. That way, if you want to play someone from Kryn, or you want to play someone from Eberron or the Forgotten Realms or whatever, you might customize your character in such a way that they express something that's in those settings. But anyway, we're going to allow people to throw shade at Shadowdark and throw shade at each other and all that on social media. And what we're going to do while they're doing that is we're going to play our games. We're going to have fun. And who knows, maybe we'll modify the existing games we have. Anyway, DM Kurt out.